Good Friday morning.
Good Friday morning, and it is Good Friday
Good
as
Friday.
well. So for those of you who are observing Good Friday and Passover week, we send you greetings. So I'm Kim Spillers.
And I'm Frank Spillers. Welcome to Rural Community Solutions TV live stream, where we talk about what Rural Community Solutions can do to help your community, but design family-friendly, youth-centered places that attract entrepreneurs, attract the people that you want to have live within your community.
We are so glad that you have joined us today. We have a special guest. Kent Klinkefus is in our green room, and we're going to bring him out in just a minute. We're going to be learning more about aronia berries. We had a show yesterday with Denise Bohmeyer, and we are so grateful that Kent is with us this morning. We're going to keep talking about the aronia berries because what we believe with Rural Community Solutions is that healthy people make healthy communities, and this is a great way for you to up your health game. So enjoy this little clip to introduce the aronia berry.
Meet the aronia berry. What is this small fruit, you ask? Well, it is one of the 8 superberries and the only one grown in North America. You also might be wondering, what are the benefits? Well, the aronia berry is packed with antioxidants that in most cases reduce blood pressure, inflammation, and weight gain. It also reduces the chances of a heart attack and the chance of developing cancer. There are many other benefits as well, such as reducing recovery time following a heart attack, after workouts, and reducing cholesterol levels. The list goes on and on, so I suggest that you meet the aronia berry and the benefits of trying it.
And meeting the aronia berry we will. We will also meet the past president of the Aronia Berry Association, Mr. Kent Klinkefus. Welcome, Kent.
Thank you.
Good morning. My gosh, that's
Good morning.
That's a great introduction. I love that. I love that little clip. That's really powerful when you can address health conditions like heart attacks, blood pressure, and cancer, both perhaps prevention. I'm sure you can't claim anything, but if that's what the research and the testimonials indicate. Yesterday, Denise, who was with us, who is a member of the board, she said that it has been instrumental, and her doctor has said so, as she has gone through and continues to recover from, with a great prognosis, from her breast cancer. So this is absolutely magnificent news on the health front. How'd you get involved in aronia berries in the first place?
It's kind of interesting. I was an educator for the lion's share of my life, and there was an article that came out in the Des Moines Register, and it was highlighting the aronia berry and the benefits of the aronia berry. And I was nearing retirement, and I just hung on to that article. And once I retired, I was aware of a piece of ground out here that wasn't being utilized, and my roots were farming. I grew up on a farm, so and I really like working with my hands. So I chose to trek to the west a little ways and have a conversation with a gentleman about growing aronia, and ended up jumping in.
And you did jump in.
You jumped in quite a bit.
We've been on that property and picked berries. That is amazing.
Yes.
In your former life, I want just to explain, but you do have roots, but your former life is also an educator. It's you were superintendent of schools. So I'm sure you have gone through the coming up the education ranks. So education really is your passion, and aronia berries is now your tool that you teach, so to speak.
It really is. And, I was a high school principal for most of my career. So, but yeah, I spend quite a bit of time talking with people either via conference, via phone, via email about this berry, and hopefully it's here to stay. I think as we get into this conversation, we'll elaborate on that a little bit, but I think the benefits of this berry make it certainly a berry that's going to be attractive to people down the road.
Well, why don't you go ahead and just kind of run with that? What is so special about this berry? The video indicated that it's one of the top 8 berries, but this is the only one in North America. So help us understand that.
Well, it's indigenous to the United States, and yet there are lots of products from different berries, ACI and so forth, that have made the trek across the water and are pretty prevalent in our country simply because they too have some of the benefits that the Aronia berry has. The difference is it's not to the same degree. We can talk about the antioxidant value, the polyphenols, the anthocyanins, and those kinds of things. And the spotlight was kind of always on the blueberries and pomegranates, if you will, and even cherries for their polyphenol content. But there's one berry out here that outdoes all of those, and that is the Aronia berry. It has the highest level of polyphenols of any berry available today. And it's the berries that are most nutrient rich with polyphenols. You'll find it in other fruits and vegetables, but it's the berries and the Aronia berry specifically that has so much content when it comes to polyphenols and anthocyanins.
How does it compare then? Blueberries are like, the go-to, and blackberries and raspberries and things like that. So this is higher. There's something called the ORAC score. Sure. Would that help people understand how they distinguish one from another?
It might, and yet the ORAC score is not the end all, but the ORAC score measures the oxygen radical absorption capacity of different fruits and vegetables. But when you compare the Aronia berry to some of your more common berries out there, like the elderberries, blueberries, the strawberries, so forth. But let's just pick the blueberry. The Aronia berry has 3 times the antioxidant value, or the ORAC value, when compared to a blueberry. So, 3 times that capacity in terms of an availability to fight free radicals, which all of us deal with every day. It's part of the oxidation process within the body. And so we're constantly looking, and those are the things, those free radicals are the things that can do the most damage internally, simply because they're pretty unstable, and they're looking for some way of becoming more stable, and so they're attacking different parts of our body and different cells, and the antioxidants then are they combat that. They combine with that free radical and stabilize it, and then therefore it's not as likely to do damage.
That is just amazing. And we have been Aronia berry fans for a number of years because of you, coming across you and your wife Pam, and learning more about that. So we've actually been consuming them over the other berries because of your advice and your recommendation and what we have studied ourselves. So that is really exciting. So let's talk a little bit, let's shift gears off of the berry and talk more about the association itself. How did that get started? Who's in it? What's its purpose? Can you share a little bit about that, please?
Absolutely. The association has been around for 10 years. Actually, it's 11, but we didn't really get to have our annual conference a year ago because of COVID. but this is the 11th year, if you will, of existence for the what was the Midwest Aronia Association, now is the American Aronia Berry Association. So it was a group of growers that kind of got together and incorporated, and not only that, they drew up a set of bylaws, and we've been living with those now for the past 10 years. And it's somewhat of a unique arrangement as far as how this association is administered. And we have a group of board members, 9 to 10 usually, that are all voluntary. Most of them have day jobs, so we kind of do this on the weekends and in the evenings, and put in a lot of time beyond the normal work day and family time that a lot of other people enjoy. So it's very unique in that capacity, because most of the time you call an association, you talk to a live body on the other end, and that person's responsibility is marketing their produce on a daily basis. So yeah, it's been around for 11 years, and hopefully it's going to be around for a lot longer.
Well, we were privileged to be able to work with you and the board back in 2019, at the end of 2019, prior to COVID, and your board decided that they would kind of change a little bit. It was really at a fork in the road of whether we really put a whole bunch into this or not. And throughout that 2 days that we spent with you, it was decided, it's time for a rebrand. And sometimes timing is really good. But the cause of the timing wasn't good. But having COVID come along and could really help you with your marketing, help you get a lot of ducks in a row with the association. And you just unveiled kind of the new brand, the new way the association is going to go a couple of weeks ago at your annual meeting. How did that go with your membership? How was it viewed by your membership? And are people excited about the direction you're going now?
Well, first of all, thanks to you two for leading us through that process. I mean, if I had to do that, it would have been the blind leading the blind. But as it turned out, you folks did an exceptional job leading us through that strategic planning process and helping us identify, first of all, where we've been, where we were, and where we'd like to go. And so thanks so much to you for your help and assistance in that process. But we do have a membership that is looking for more. We emphasized education for about the first 10 years of our existence. Education being in the form primarily of an annual conference where we bring in a host of speakers, and they talk on a variety of topics around growing and raising aronia berries. But we were getting these calls about, okay, can you help me get rid of these berries? Right. People move from growing to all of a sudden having a crop, and now what do I do with this crop once I get it out of the field? So, and that was a bit of a problem. We didn't have an abundance of markets out there. We had few people that would buy some berries, but they, in terms of staying in existence for long periods of time, that just did not happen. So, in the process of our retreat, we identified that we need to expand our approach to promoting, if you will, this aronia berry. So and we kind of use promotion and marketing interchangeably. But we don't buy berries. We don't sell berries as an association, but we do promote the berry. Okay. We just needed to do it on a larger scale. And we were fortunate enough to put out a request for proposal, and we got connected to Insight Marketing Design out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and they were super. They led us through that process of rebranding, development of a new website, which really has eye appeal and more capacity to include information about the berry. So they've been just exceptional, and it's going to be us identifying resource avenues in order to continue down that road. But so we've taken our existing website, AmericanAronia.org, and we've kind of expanded on that a little bit in the meantime. And we think we've upgraded that website considerably in terms of having eye appeal and so forth. And we've also expanded our presence on Facebook using a technique called boosting, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting to the point where we're moving down that path, and I think you'll see a huge difference in our promotional activity down the road.
Yeah, I just on the website. If you want to go to the website, AmericanAronia.org, there is American Aronia. I didn't say that. Oh, okay.
It's okay.
American Aronia.
AmericanAronia.org.
And you're going to find a whole bunch of research that has been done about the Aronia berry. So some of the claims that have been made within the film and just in our conversation is all backed up by this research. And so you want to go check out that research. You'll also find some recipes on there of how to really get this into your food products. It's just not picking the berry off the bushes and popping it in your mouth. There's juices, there's the powder, there's we have coffee cake that she puts apples and aronia berries in a coffee cake that's really good. I get a aronia berry smoothie every once in a while on that. And it's there's just so many ways you can eat that that the sky's the limit on there. So really do use that website, because it's a great website, Kent. Use that website to find out for yourself what the Aronia berry is, how you can join the association, how you can support the association. And by the way, I'm going to give a little plug that during the retreat that we did, they put out their vision, their wish, if you would, and put out to the universe, okay, put it out there that Oprah would be the spokesperson for the Aronia Association. So
yes,
if you're listening, check out the American Aronia Association, and there's some really good benefits for that.
There really are. And so there are recipes. We do smoothies. You can bake with it and such. What other products does the association feel that the berry might contribute to? Where else could it be used?
Well, it certainly has a value-added capacity. And I think that is definitely going to be something down the road. In fact, conversations that I've had with some people in the nutraceutical industry, that's what they see down the road for this Aronia berry. But there are all kinds of products out there on the market right now, and I think Denise probably talked about her jams and jellies and lots of things lots of products that she's putting out there. Oh boy, and she's a goer. So there will be more products down the road. But as for my wife and myself, we drink a powder. We put powder in a drink every day, and it travels with us. And I mean, we just don't miss it. But your powders. It's been said. I heard actually someone say that the Aronia was not meant for raw consumption. And if you've had a chance to eat raw Aronia, it will cause you to pucker right up.
It,
Yeah. And some, now my wife, she likes it. And my 2-year-old grandson will pick them right off the bush and right in the mouth they go. But that wouldn't be my preference. I like it in powder form, and I put it in a drink. I mean, it comes right out of a jar and it's packaged, and I mean, it's just something that we have become quite fond of, and don't anticipate changing. Although we've done the juice thing as well, but this is our preference.
And Denise was saying yesterday that it depended upon the berry. There were some things that she was experimenting with, actually, of growing that made a sweeter berry rather than the tart or bitter berry, if you will, of kind of what I'm used to of popping it in my mouth. So
absolutely, and that's one thing that we are promoting as an association, and that is, if you're going to raise these berries, raise quality berries. Okay. Yeah. In other words, testing, take soil samples, because these berries are like most other crops you have in the field. They like balance. They like balance in the soil. And so it requires fertilization. All right. And we test before we harvest, and we just do not harvest a berry unless they're 18 bricks or over. And what that means is that the sugar level in the berry is at an 18 or above. Okay. So then that berry is much sweeter. And, interesting enough, my wife can take a berry right off the plant and plop it in her mouth and say, okay, this will test 18. I mean, she just knows. And you can test them, and she's right on. It'll be 18 or above. But, before we pick them, they're going to test 18 or above on the bricks test.
Also, your wife has a experience in a past profession in early care and education. So having that intuition, I think, is kind of born into both of you guys. Around kids all the time.
Very well be.
You just know what's sweet or not.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the industry itself. So we have the American Aronia Berry Association. How many members, how many growers across the country? And then how could people find anyone if they wanted to pick their own or find you and buy them?
Sure. We have about 80 members, and most of those members are congregated in the Midwest here. Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota probably have the most members, make up about 75% of the membership. And then we go North Dakota, Minnesota, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas. So most of them are bunched right here in the Midwest. And as far as their participation and how you get involved in the association and so forth, there's a membership. You can do it electronically right on the website, or you can print out a hard copy and send it to Steve Kreitz, who is the membership chair of the American Aronia Berry Association. So you can get involved that way. And not only that, membership allows you to make contacts. You can go to our tab that has the contact information for our board members, and you can utilize that. Send that out to a board member, and they'll respond to questions that you have. In fact, that's probably how I spend a lot of my time on the phone when I was the president. People would just email, and that was something that I kind of watched for, so I'd respond to those. A lot of times, rather than respond by email, I prefer to call because it's just a more personal conversation when you call, and it's amazing how many questions come up in a conversation that you wouldn't want to spend all that time on email. You know what I mean? But you can get it out of it on a phone call.
For sure. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. There's so many.
You've left a great legacy with the Aronia Association as a past president. And coming into the conference, I want to talk just a little bit about coming into the conference, and then now leaving the conference. How did the members react to the conference of what was presented, the marketing plan, and the direction that the association is going?
Yeah. We actually sent out a conference evaluation form immediately after that conference. So the feedback has been very favorable. The response to those folks that talked about marketing and a message of hope, for example, we had a market analysis person come on and speak to the Aronia berry and its future, and very favorable, very favorable. You know, I think about when I got into Aronia berry, it was much like choosing a career in medicine or education. It's a sure bet that it's going to be around for a long period of time. Well, I think we can say the same thing about this berry simply because of its many benefits to you personally. I have a diagram, and it's quite interesting, but it's of all the body systems and organs, and there literally is not a system or organ that isn't impacted in a positive way by the intake of Aronia berries. So, you know, it's just not something that's going away. It's something that we have to do a better job of educating the masses and getting in front of the right people in the nutraceutical industry, those in medicine, if you will, people that are just health conscious, people that are looking for something that they can include in their daily diet that is just really good for them. And so I think this berry is here to stay. It's just not one that you just plop in your mouth and chew away, but it's here to stay because it can be utilized in a variety of forms that make it much more palatable.
Absolutely. Just for the listening audience, I guess. Again, we can bake with it, you can cook with it, you can drink it. We make an immune health system syrup during the winter months when we tend to be stuck inside. We want to boost our immune system. We also want to just share that the original, kind of the more common name of the Aronia berry is a choke cherry.
Oh yeah.
And so maybe older generations, perhaps, who have farmed, perhaps maybe that might be a name that they might more readily recognize for, oh gosh, that's for one out in the field. Or, you know, somewhere in the timberline or something like that. How describe the shrubs just a little bit? If anybody really wants to think about growing this, what kind of land would they need?
Hey, that's a great question, Kim. They're a pretty hardy plant, if you will, and will grow in a variety of soils and soil conditions. Not that they like wet feet. And in other words, if you were planting them in a bog or something, they probably are not going to do really well. But clay, even sandy soil, but most of your soils, they're tolerant of. And the thing that you need to be aware of is they like a pH somewhere around 6 to 6.5. They will tolerate a little wider range than that, but ultimately they would like somewhere between 6 and 6.5 pH soil. And then it's kind of take care of them. We grow our plants organically, and we only use organic certified products. When we add fertilizers and so forth, we use organic certified, approved by the state of Iowa. So, we don't put any synthetic fertilizers or use any synthetic weed control, nothing like that, but which makes it a little more labor intensive because we've crawled up and down the field pulling weeds out from under them until they get that canopy out there big enough that it kind of keeps down the growth underneath the plant. And then once you get to that point, it's clear sailing. But
so how many acres do you have? Because it's your hand planting, your hand cultivating, and then it's a certain amount of time before the tree reaches or the bush reaches maturity also. So how many acres do you have?
Well, we have about probably altogether 9.
Wow.
9 to 10. Yeah, we have some here close by, and then we have some over. Another guy and I over at Guthrie Center are involved in a project over there. So, yeah.
Okay. So how many pounds do you get a year?
Well, that would equate to about, and the field over at Guthrie really isn't producing much yet, but around 16,000 pounds in the field close by here. Yeah.
And where is here? Because we were talking to the producer yesterday in Missouri that they were actually a processing desert because there was no processing facility in her state, basically. And so where do you take your berries? And is there also an effort to increase the processors because there is a market out there?
And that's a little bit of a problem because those people are spread out. The closest processing facility was Cherokee. Okay, for us. There's also a processing facility over around Fort Dodge, a little ways north of Fort Dodge. There's a processing facility.
So for those of you that don't know the geography of where that is, that's about an hour to 2 hours. Both of those places are an hour to 2 hours away from where Kent's fields are.
That is correct. Yep. Okay. So yeah, they're definitely, if this market expands beyond what it is right now, there's going to certainly be a need for more processing facilities.
Well, yeah, now we're going to push this because there's an entrepreneur out there that really can do something with the product and the produce that's there, and how this can really help grow that. So we really want to thank you, Kent, for taking the time with us. Again, that's the American Aronia.org is the website, or can they get a hold of you directly, and or should they go through the contact us on your website?
Typically if you're asking association questions, I would encourage you to go through the website. Okay. If you just want to talk Aronia, I like doing that. Okay. So they can certainly call me. It's 579-415-1712 area code, 579-4151. Call if you want, and I'll do my best to answer your questions or just chat about the Aronia berry.
Well, all I can say is we have space in the yard for a bush or two. And I guess that is maybe just if you were going to start some like blueberries, you have to have a male and a female. What happens with aronias?
I missed that question there, Kim. Yeah. Could you repeat that, please?
Yes, with blueberry bushes, you have to have a male and a female for them to pollinate. Do aronias require that?
Nope, self-pollinate.
Okay, so you
Nope.
can just have
You can have one bush.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you just want one in your yard, I know that it requires sun, quite a bit of sun. They're not shade plants.
Right.
So if you've got a
Right.
sunny spot in your yard and you want to start growing them, it's going to take a little while before they actually bear. Denise was telling us yesterday about 3 years before they really start to come on and produce.
That's correct.
Oh gosh, I can't wait. We still have a freezer full from the berries that we got from you last year. So we are just so excited to use those. I'm going to try and figure out something to do with them this weekend. So I'm looking for that recipe book.
There you go. Yeah.
We're so grateful, Kent. Thank you so much for joining us. You hang out for just a second. We'll be right back with you. Okay.
Thanks, Kent.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my gosh. If you're interested in your health, we sure encourage you to look into the Aronia berry, the chokecherry. Here in the Midwest, as Kent said, it is a prevalent berry that is super healthy, top of the line for antioxidants and anthocyanins and polyphenols and all the things that are good to help us stay healthy. And as we do profess here with Rural Community Solutions, healthy people make healthy communities, and that's important.
So entrepreneurs need to be healthy. So if you're a healthy entrepreneur, come on back on Monday as we talk about local foods on Main Street and succession of how businesses on Main Street should start to prepare or should be in the process of putting a succession plan together. So come on back, Rural Community Solutions TV live stream on YouTube, Rural Community Solutions Facebook, or check the podcast at anchor.fm/Frank Spiller's Think Like an Entrepreneur, Become a Spark Plug. And so until Monday, happy Easter, blessings to all, and we hope you have a good weekend.
And happy Passover to those of you who are in the week of Passover. We think of you all and wish you well. Take care.
Bye-bye.